Peace, everybody. This is Musa Abdullah with Real Life Critics. As you can see, I'm not in my usual station, which is typically at the plantation, the corporate plantation. But today I am broadcasting from Michigan, the Mitten. I'm here visiting family during the Kwanzaa month, Kwanzaa celebration time. My family, unfortunately, is upstairs celebrating Christmas. Hey, what you gonna do, man? You got to wake them up one by one. But until that point in time, I'm gonna stay focused on my mission, which is to educate us, educate ourselves, and keep us abreast of what's going on as far as the academic world is concerned. Today will be the launching of a series. It was prompted by the most recent circumstances that led my nephew Amari to be placed in a new school. The racist tendencies of his educators. This is a follow up on my last video: is why black educators should be utilized to educate black youth. With that being said, let me get right into the content. The first rule to safeguarding our black melanoid soldiers, children, our beautiful black youth from predatory behavior by racist staff members. And first, let me be very, very clear. To be a white supremacist does not mean you have to be white. Sometimes white supremacy is imposed upon us by not other cultures that are non-white. Sometimes even by, sadly enough, even by ourselves. So you got to be careful. So what I'm going to do is the first thing I like to say that you may need to do is what I recommended my brother-in-law do with my nephew Mari, is to shop for your school as if you were shopping for a brand new vehicle. I've known people who went to Consumer Reports, they've called dealerships, they test drove cars, they've looked at all the amenities, priced them, they've haggled to get the best deal. But what I find is that those same people, when it comes to the education of their children, they do one or two things. They send them directly to the place that is closest to home for convenience sake, or they put them in a space of all white teachers, thinking that their proximity to whiteness makes their education much better. Let me first say that this is never the case. Um, Assimilationist, remove yourselves from my page. Remove yourself from this video, because if you believe that just because there's a white teacher in front of your child that the education will be better, you're already lost. But we definitely need to educate you. Now, you can stay if you want to hear what I have to say, because I'm letting you know the truth of the matter. Once again, I always go through all my credentials a little bit. Been in education for 16 years. I've been on both sides of the coin. I've seen it as an educator and as one who's been educated in both realms by all black instructors, by all white. Um, you need to be aware that there are certain things that you must do as a parent. First and foremost, you got to, like I said, you got to shop for your school, for your child, as if you're shopping for a car. Check out all the bells and whistles. Make sure everything that your child needs is at this particular institution. And if it's not, you need to be finding out what is the school going to be doing to get it into that institution. Secondly, interview the administrator. Speak to him or her to find out what is the philosophy of the school. How can the school best benefit your child, particularly your black child? Because we are oftentimes forgotten. We're oftentimes set aside when it comes to education. I know schools that do not even acknowledge Black History Month. Even though it's only 28 days, we don't get even any acknowledgement. Also, be ready to do pop-up visits prior to your child attending the school. Pop up, see what the school looks like on a regular day, not on the day that you're coming, that you're scheduled. Hey, just pop up. Hey, I just want to walk through. Can I do a walkthrough? If they're apprehensive, be apprehensive putting your child in that school. Also, meet with the teachers. Meet with every teacher possible. Find out the teachers that are going to be educating your child, because that person ultimately is an extension of you. They will have a hold of your child's body and mind for 8 to 10 hours a day. That's a very long time for somebody to be captured, to capture your child. So be very, very aware of that. Also, a lot of times I hear parents say, oh, my child's school is very diverse, but they're only referring to the diversity of the classroom as it pertains to the student body. That is not diversity. That's just a mixed classroom. If you have a black child and every teacher and administrator, or the majority of the teachers and administrators, do not look like your child, then that's a problem. It's not a diverse school. Because guess what? Whatever preconceived notions that person may have about people that look like your child, meaning black children, they will take that into the classroom and they will inject that into the lessons. I've seen it done. I know it happens. You cannot separate how you teach from how you live. It cannot be done. Also, going back, ask why your school philosophy and why the school's thoughts on culture can be brought forth and make sure and be brought to your child's well-being. Also, hey baby, my daughter just walked up in here. Say hello, baby. Hi. Hey, don't beat it. All right. They need to know why is it that every single time that the teacher opens his mouth or her mouth, how can that benefit my child? They need to know those things. I got a little off track. I saw my daughter. Please excuse me. I'm human. I make mistakes. Also, the color of the counselor and social worker of your school is very, very important. I need to repeat that. As a dean of students and as a school social worker, I'm letting you know that that is very, very important because oftentimes children feel that they cannot speak to the teacher directly because there may be a sense of retribution if they complain about the actions of a teacher, if they go to the teacher about an administrator. I will say this, and I don't say this with tongue in cheek, and I don't say this as a bite of my tongue. I'm being very, very honest. If the counselor or the teachers don't look like your student, look like your child, you should be looking for another school. I'll say that again. If the counselor, social worker, and teachers do not look like your child in abundance and in majority, if not all, you should be looking for another school. It's high time that we recognize that it is our responsibility to educate our youth. We cannot leave that to the devices of any other culture anymore. Those days are over. We are in a time of turmoil. We can no longer accept minuscule or menial um, attempts at getting our children to be educated properly. You need to have a cultural basis of your education. There should be something, someone at some time in that institution that says, hey, that child matters. And he matters not only because he's a child, but because he's a black child. She's a black child. So you need to be very, very aware. So, number one rule, the first part series, shop for schools as if you would a vehicle. Look for all the bells and whistles. Look for the maintenance problems. Try to find out who built the vehicle or built the school. What foundation was the school built upon? And remember, your child should have someone in front of them that looks like them to help to perpetuate the ideology, which is a true one, that they are great and they can be great, and that education does not only come from the dominant society. Once again, I'd like to say thank you very, very much for taking the time out to pay attention to me as I give you this information in regards to our beautiful black soldiers and our beautiful black queens. And once again, peace and power. Real life critics. Talk to you later.